Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that hits really close to home about family, trust, and the memories we hold on to. Imagine this, your brother shows up to his wedding wearing a precious necklace that your mother gave only to you, without ever asking. How would you feel? Betrayed? Heartbroken? Conflicted? This isn't just about a piece of jewelry. It's about what family means, what promises last, and what happens when those promises are broken. Stick around, because this story is full of emotion and unexpected twists. And if you've ever had complicated family moments, I think you're going to relate. Alright, let's dive in.
When I was 15, my mother called me into her room after dinner. She was already in bed, the lamp by her nightstand casting a soft glow over her frail face. I remember how her voice trembled slightly when she said my name, soft but deliberate. In her hand, she held a small box, the kind you'd find tucked away in a dusty drawer, barely bigger than your palm. Inside was a necklace. Thin gold chain with a round locket that looked almost too old to be worn. It wasn't flashy. There were no diamonds, no name brand. But the moment she opened it, I saw the tiniest picture of her and my grandmother, both of them beaming on a summer afternoon I'd never been alive for. "This belonged to her," she whispered. "Now it belongs to you." At the time, I didn't understand the weight of it. Not until she added, "You'll wear it on your wedding day. Promise me." And so I did. That moment stayed frozen in my memory, even after she passed away 2 months later. Cancer doesn't wait. And the world moved on faster than I was ready for. My brother Theo was 21 then off at college, coming home only on weekends, pretending he was fine. We all did, really, pretended, because grief is quieter when no one says anything out loud. The necklace stayed tucked in a drawer in my room, far away from light or touch. Every so often, I'd take it out, trace my fingers over the locket, and feel her there. It was my tether to her fragile, unspoken, sacred. Theo never asked about it. He never brought it up, even during the fights about what to keep and what to donate. I thought maybe he didn't remember. Or maybe deep down he knew it wasn't his. Years passed. He graduated, moved out, got a job, met someone. I stayed in our hometown, took care of Dad, tried to build a life that still had space for the silence Mom left behind. Then came the phone call. "Hey," Theo said, voice light, almost giddy. "I'm getting married." He wanted me to be happy for him, and I was. At least I tried to be. I didn't know her well, Amelia. We'd met twice, both times at awkward dinners where she D-smiled too much and I D-said too little. She wasn't cruel, just distant, not interested in the parts of Theo's life that included me. Still, I bought the dress. I booked the flight. I smiled when he asked if I could do a toast. And when I packed, I pulled out the necklace for the first time in years. I held it up in front of the mirror, watched the chain glint gently in the morning light. It felt like Mom's hand on my shoulder. I even whispered, "It's time," like she would have, had she been there to zip up my dress herself. The wedding was beautiful, picturesque, perfect in that overly curated Instagram kind of way. Amelia had planned every detail: cream roses, string quartet, even handmade cocktail menus. It wasn't my style, but I could appreciate the effort. Then at the rehearsal dinner, I saw her, Amelia, wearing my mother's necklace. At first, I couldn't move. I stood there, half hidden behind the door to the private dining room, staring like my eyes were deceiving me. But they weren't. That delicate gold chain, the locket swaying gently above Amelia's collarbone, was unmistakable. I knew it the way a mother knows the cry of her child, instantly, instinctively, undeniably. I wanted to believe it was a coincidence, a replica, a mistake. But there was no mistaking that tiny, hairline scratch on the clasp, the one I'd caused years ago, fumbling to open it with nervous fingers. It was mine, hers, ours. I stepped into the room, walking toward them in what felt like a daze. People were mingling, laughing, sipping wine, oblivious to the way the ground had cracked beneath my feet. Theo saw me first. He smiled, raised a hand in a casual wave. Amelia turned to look, and when our eyes met, she touched the necklace absent-mindedly, like it was just another accessory. Like it meant nothing. I didn't say anything then. I couldn't. What would I have said? That she was wearing something sacred? That she was trespassing on memory? That my mother's final gift had been plucked from a drawer and hung around the neck of a woman who barely knew her name? Dinner was a blur. I barely touched my food. My speech, which I'd written carefully the night before, sat in my bag untouched. I watched them, Theo and Amelia whispering, smiling, feeding each other bites of dessert. She reached up once and touched the locket again, and I had to excuse myself to the bathroom before I burst into tears. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake in my hotel bed, holding the empty box I brought with me, the one the necklace used to rest in. I kept opening and closing it, the sound like a heartbeat in silence. The next morning, I found Theo in the lobby, alone, checking his phone, waiting for something or someone. I approached him slowly, heart pounding. "Theo," I said, voice quiet but firm. "Can we talk?" He looked up, surprised. "Yeah, of course." "Everything okay?" I nodded toward a quieter hallway, away from the guests. Once we were out of earshot, I didn't waste time. "I saw Amelia wearing Mom's necklace," I said. His expression didn't change. That stunned me more than anything. "Yeah," he said casually. "I gave it to her. Thought it would be nice to have something of Mom's with us on the day." I blinked. "You gave it to her?" He shrugged. "I found it in Dad's house in one of your old drawers. Figured it wasn't a big deal." "It wasn't in Dad's house," I said slowly, coldly. "It was in my house, my drawer." "It was mine, Theo. She gave it to me." Now he looked confused, maybe even a little defensive. "I don't remember that." "She never said anything to me." "Because she said it to me," I hissed, voice sharp now. "Do you honestly think I wouldn't remember the last thing she ever gave me?" He rubbed the back of his neck, looked away. "I didn't think it mattered." "It mattered," I said. "It still does." Silence stretched between us. The distant clinking of dishes and the hum of wedding preparations floated faintly through the hall. "You want me to take it back?" he asked finally, like it was a challenge. "No," I said. "I want you to understand what you did. And I want her to take it off. Before the ceremony." Theo stared at me like I'd just slapped him. Maybe it felt that way. Maybe asking his bride to remove a necklace an hour before the ceremony was, in his eyes, spiteful. But to me, it was the first boundary I'd dared to draw in years. "You're serious," he said, almost laughing, like I'd made a joke. "I'm not doing this to be difficult," I replied. "But you had no right, Theo. You didn't even ask. You just took it, and now she's wearing it like it's hers." "She didn't know," he argued. "She thought I was giving her something from Mom. She was touched, okay? She thought it was sweet." "That's the problem," I said. "It wasn't yours to give." He looked down at the floor, jaw tight, fingers clenching at his sides like he was fighting the urge to snap back. I expected him to defend her again, to tell me I was ruining his wedding, that I should be happy she was honoring Mom. Instead, he surprised me. "I didn't remember," he said. "I honestly didn't remember she gave it to you. I thought maybe you forgot about it. It was just sitting there." I wanted to believe him. Maybe part of me did. But the part that had cried over that necklace in the dark, that had promised a dying woman I'd carry her memory forward, that part couldn't have let this go. "It's not just jewelry," I said. "It's the last thing she gave me. And I've been holding on to it for 10 years. He looked away again, his voice quieter now. "I don't want this to ruin the day." "Then tell her," I said. "Tell her the truth. Ask her to take it off." "I can't do that," he said almost instantly. "Why not?" Because it's sewn into the back of her dress. I blinked. What? She had it altered. It's not just hanging there, it's fastened into the gown. You can't even see the clasp. She wanted it to be, I don't know, special, sentimental. I felt sick. So it's not just borrowed, it's part of the outfit? He nodded sheepishly, and you didn't think to ask me if that was okay. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. I turned away from him, heart thudding like a war drum in my chest. I wanted to scream, to walk out, to find Amelia and rip the necklace off her myself. But I didn't. I took a deep breath and stared at a framed painting on the hallway wall, something generic, peaceful, utterly disconnected from this moment. Then I turned back to him. You don't get it, I said, softer now. You've moved on. You left. You built a life away from all this, but I stayed. I held on to everything. I held on to her. That necklace was the one thing I never let go of. And now you've just taken it. His face softened for a moment, and I saw the guilt flicker through him like wind through trees. I'm sorry, he said, finally. I really am. But she's already wearing it. The dress is done. There's no way to undo that now. I nodded slowly. Then I'll do the toast. I'll smile. I'll sit quietly. But after today, I'm taking it back. The ceremony was beautiful. Sunlight spilled through the stained glass windows, casting colors onto the polished pews. Amelia walked slowly down the aisle, the necklace gleaming subtly at her throat. I sat near the front, hands clenched in my lap, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. I wanted to feel anger, resentment, betrayal, but all I felt was sad. When Theo reached the altar, he glanced at me, eyes full of something I couldn't read. Regret? Apology? I nodded slightly and gave him a small, tight smile. During my toast, I spoke carefully, choosing words that were honest but kind. Mom gave me a necklace, I said, voice steady but soft. It was her last gift to me. It reminds me of love, family, and memories that don't fade. I looked out at the crowd and saw Amelia's face. She wasn't mocking or defensive. She looked moved, vulnerable. I know it means a lot to all of us. And today, it reminds me that even when things get complicated, family ties aren't broken so easily. The rest of the night passed in a blur dancing, laughter, toasts, hugs. At one point, Amelia came to me quietly. I never meant to hurt you, she said, voice low. I wore the necklace because I wanted to honor her, to feel connected to your family. I nodded. I get that. And I'm sorry I made it harder than it needed to be. She smiled, eyes glistening. Maybe we can find a way to make the necklace ours. Not just yours or mine or Theo's, a symbol for all of us. That night, I thought a lot about what it means to let go and what it means to hold on. The necklace wasn't just gold and old pictures. It was memory, promise, forgiveness. In the end, I realized that family isn't always perfect and love isn't always simple. But sometimes the hardest moments can become the strongest ties. And for the first time in a long time, I felt ready to wear the necklace again.